Welcome to all dear students in Gokul Global University. Today we discuss about the part 2 of UV spectroscopy, which discussed in our previous last video. So today the first topic is chromophore and auxochrome. What is the chromophore? A covalently unsaturated group responsible for electronic absorption. We also studied in the last video that a electron gets energy from the UV light and being excited and goes to excited state from the ground state. So some groups are present, must be present in the compound which will responsible for the electronic absorption. So again, chromophore, what the means of chromophore? A covalently unsaturated group responsible for electronic absorption. Now the next is auxochrome, a saturated group with non-bonded electrons which when attached to a chromophore alters both the wavelength and the intensity of the absorption. Example like OH, NH2, Nr2, SH, which all are contain a lone pair electron. So the auxochrome is the groups which connected with the chromophore and the alters both the wavelength and the intensity of the absorption. Okay, now there are some substituent effects occurred in the UV spectra. The UV spectra graph, the peak of absorption goes to in various direction. The first is shift, bathochromic shift. In this shift, absorption shifting to a longer wavelength, also known as a red shift. The second is hypsochromic shift, the shift of absorption to a shorter wavelength, also known as a blue shift. This is a hypsochromic shift. This is a bathochromic shift. Now the third is hyperchromic effect, an increase in absorption intensity. This is a hyperchromic effect, increasing in a absorption intensity. The fourth is hyperchromic effect, a decrease in absorption intensity. Here it is a hypochromic effect, a decrease in absorption intensity. So all substituent effects occur to the graph of the spectra of the UV spectroscopy. So this peak when goes to the down, that's called a hypochromic effect. When this peak goes to the up, then it's called a hyperchromic effect. When this peak goes to the shift to the longer wavelength, also known as a bathochromic effect. And when this peak shift to the shorter wavelength, then it's known as a blue shift and it's known as a hypsochromic shift. Now the effect of conjugation on lambda max. So conjugation raises the energy of the HOMO and lowers the energy of the LUMO. With increase in conjugation, the HOMO-LUMO gap will decrease. Now here we see the diagram between the energy and the conjugation increment. In the ethylene group, one double bond, the gap between the HOMO and LUMO is very high. In the next, butadiene have a 2 double bond in comparison of the ethylene. Then gap is decreased between the HOMO and the LUMO. In the next, hexatriene, there are 3 double bonds present in comparison of the butadiene. The gap between the HOMO and LUMO is also decreased. In the last, octatetraene have the 4 double bond more in comparison of the hexatriene, and the gap between the HOMO and LUMO is highly decreased in the comparison of other diene systems. Again, conjugation raises the energy of the HOMO and lowers the energy of the LUMO. Conjugation raises the energy of the HOMO. So HOMO conjugation raises the energy of the HOMO and lowers the energy of the LUMO. So lowers energy of the LUMO. Here lowers, higher, lower, higher, lower, very high, very low. Okay, the bathochromic shift or ray shift, a shift to a longer lambda, lower energy will be observed. Effect of conjugation on lambda max. There are many compounds contain a diene system. Here it also gives with the lambda maximum and epsilon value. The first is CH2 double bond CH2. The lambda max in nanometer is 165 and the epsilon meters per meter semi 15,000. Contain butadiene 217 21,000. There are 3 double bonds. Lambda max increase 256. Epsilon also increase 50,000. There are 4 double bonds 290. 5 double bonds 334. 6 double bond 364. Both lambda max and epsilon molar absolute increases with the increase in conjugation. Now the effect of solvents and solutions in the UV spectroscopy. Solvents should not absorb UV radiation within same range as the substance. When we prepare a solution by the solute and the solvent, in the part of solvent should not absorb UV radiation within same range as the substance. There are some examples of solvents give here. Acetonitrile, which shows the 190 nanometer, chloroform, which show the 240 nanometer, cyclohexane, which show the 195 nanometer, 1,4-dioxane shows the 215 nanometer, 95% ethanol shows the 205 nanometer. Also an hexane shows the 201 nanometer. Methanol shows the 205 nanometer. Isooctane shows the 195 nanometer. Water shows the 190 nanometer. Trimethyl phosphate shows the 210 nanometer. Okay, there are different values of the UV spectrum of the solvents. A strong absorbing solvent allows very little amount of light to pass through the sample. So the strong is very high absorbing, then the little amount of the light needed be little. Non-polar solvents do not form H bond hydrogen bond with solute, so fine structure is often observed. In polar solvents, form solute solvent complexes through hydrogen bonding, hence fine structure may disappear. Here the graph UV spectra of phenol, in ethanol and isooctane. So isooctane graph is given here. It has a particular shape, and ethanol has a not a particular shape because it's a polar. So it's a vary the result. Now the solvent effect. The position and intensity of an absorption band may shift if the spectrum was recorded in different solvents. Conjugated dienes and aromatic hydrocarbons experience very less solvent effects. Alpha beta unsaturated carbonyls shows two different shifts in bands for changing solvents from non-polar to a polar protic one. Here, pi to pi star band moves to longer wavelength and 2 pi star band moves to shorter wavelengths. Pi star orbitals get stabilized due to more polarity by solvation than pi orbitals. N orbitals get stabilized mainly by H bonding, means hydrogen bonding. So here pi star orbital get stabilized. Why? Due to more polarity by solvation than pi orbital. So pi star is more stable in comparison of the pi, and n orbital gets stabilized mainly by hydrogen bonding. And hydrogen bonding when occur? When the solvent is polar and it's releases the hydrogen. So the next, there are different applications of the UV spectroscopy. We also discuss in the brief in the last video. The first applications in organic compounds. It is helps to show the relationship between different groups. It is useful to detect the conjugation of the compounds. Means it helps relation between the different groups, like two groups with connected with the each other, and some groups have a diene system, some groups have not diene system. Then we detect a diene system by the UV spectroscopy, that we define which group contain a diene system and which group not contain a diene system. The second is detection of geometrical isomers. In case of geometrical isomers compounds, that trans isomers exhibits lambda max at slightly longer wavelength and have larger extinction coefficient than the cis isomers. The third is detection of functional group. It is possible to detect the presence of certain functional groups with the help of UV spectrum. So we discuss in the first point, helps to show the relation between the different groups. It is useful to detect the conjugation of the compounds. And the third point is also detect of functional groups like carboxylic acid, ester, aldehyde, etc., which contain a diene system or the double bond or the conjugation system. Now the general applications of the UV spectroscopy. The first is qualitative analysis. We also discuss about the what is the qualitative analysis and the quantitative analysis in the last video, part 1. So first, qualitative analysis. UV absorption spectroscopy can characterize those type of compounds which absorb UV radiation. Identification is done by comparing the absorption spectrum with the spectra of non-compound. So we check the functional groups. conjugation system, etc. in comparison of the reference group, reference spectra and the real practical spectra. And we also compare with the each other and the finalized the new product or the new compound structure by the UV spectra. The second is, it is useful in quantitative analysis of the compound. We also discuss about the quantitative analysis. Detection of impurities. UV absorption spectroscopy is the one of the best methods for detecting impurities in organic compound. Because of when the some impurities groups or the some impurities compounds as an impurity connected with the product, then it's change the structure of the compound. When we detect the compound structure by the UV spectroscopy and the UV spectroscopy detect changes occurred in the compound by the reason of impurities, then we also know information about the given compound. So that's useful for the detection of impurities. Tautomeric equilibrium. UV spectroscopy can be used to determine the percentage of various keto and enol forms present in tautomeric equilibrium. So UV spectroscopy also useful for tautomeric equilibrium. It's also determine the percentage of various. There are two types, keto and enol. Now the fifth, chemical kinetics. UV spectroscopy can be used to study of the kinetics of reactions. The sixth is molecular weight determination. Molecular weight of compounds can be measured by spectroscopy. How? When we find functional groups, the connection between the different types of groups, so we approximate know about the which metals or the which elements are present in the compound, and by this information we also get information about the molecular weight of compound. Analysis of inorganic compound, it's also known as a qualitative analysis. The eighth is measuring concentration of solution. Absorption band can also used to determine the concentration of compounds in a solution. So we also check the concentration of the solution by the UV spectroscopy. The ninth is inorganic chemistry. Absorption spectra have been used in connection with many problems in inorganic chemistry. It is useful to determine the structure of the chloral. So the qualitative analysis. Pharmacopoeial identification of drug. The first is by using absorbance and wavelength, second by taking absorption ratio, and third limit test. Structural analysis. In quantitative analysis A by using Beer's law and using absorptivity value by using reference standard multiple standard method. And the B is single compound analysis, direct analysis using separation method after extraction, after chromatographic separation using column chromatography using HPLC. In the indirect analysis, single compound without chromophore, drugs with chromophoric reagent, for analyte which observe weakly in UV region, for avoiding interferences, improve selectivity of assay, determination of composition of complex, mole ratio method, continuous variation method. Fifth is study of kinetics, So there are some disadvantages of this spectra or the method, spectroscopic method. Samples should be in solution. Mixture of substances purges, difficult to analyze and requires prior separation. So we have to clear samples should be in solution. The second is interference from the samples metric makes the measurement difficult. So this is related with the impurities. Some abundance comes from the impurities in the sample. So interference from the samples metric makes the measurement difficult.